1990, what is it? Six, and we're here with Jacob Joseph Marks, who's turning how old this year?
75.
75 years old. And where he is at Caldwell Street?
Caldwell. C-O-W-E-L-L. Caldwell Street.
Caldwell Street, and this is where Jacob J. was born and raised?
No, I wasn't born, raised here, born in Philadelphia.
So tell me what was right behind you in its day.
Right behind me is where our home was. That was it.
Yeah? And what did it look like?
Row house.
Row house.
Brick row house. Like some of those you see up the street here. But you can't see it too well from here.
Okay, what was this neighborhood was Jewish?
Originally was Jewish. Before the war, after the war, most of the Jewish people moved out, and after that it went downhill.
So what was on this street?
A lot of houses of repute.
On the street?
On the street? Oh yeah, they were all up and down. Oh, down below here was Cantor and Smaller's Fish House, the smokehouse, they used to smoke fish. And then there was Herman, meat packing house. They made salamis, corned beef, the sort of thing that meat packers do.
There was kind of a warehousey thing right across the street here with kind of a high loading dock.
Well, that was the back of Silverman's. They used to pack pickles and sauerkraut. Your mother worked. Your mother worked for them for a while. But they were located above the garage, directly across the street when we lived on Caldwell Street. And that's about the extent of it.
So Caldwell Street was a three-story building?
No, two-story.
Two-story.
Two-story with an attic.
With an attic. And we had 7 kids? 6 kids.
6 kids.
6 kids. Yeah.
There was Jenny, myself, Joe, Leonard, Evelyn, and Edie.
A little crowded?
And it was darn crowded. But Jenny left home. Before she graduated high school, she got married. My mother took sick, and an aunt practically adopted Evelyn, who was raised up in Philadelphia. And that was it. And the war took us away. When we come back, Joe settled in Texas, Leonard settled in California, and then that's where he died. Joe was still in Texas,
right,
with his auto wrecking establishment.
Now we got Rose, his mom, and what Dad's name was?
Lewis.
Lewis, and what was his story? That we know, that we can talk about.
Well, when I was 11 years of age, he had a stroke, from which he never really recovered. But prior to that, he was the maintenance man for the Republic Banknote Company in Oakland. It was a printing outfit, and they survived the Depression because they were doing legal documents and the like. There was still demand for, but once that expired, why, he was let go.
All right, I think I got the story wrong many times by now, and you've probably corrected each time, and now we'll record why it's wrong. I remember that he supposedly, the story that I remember incorrectly, was he rode some kind of bike somewhere and got killed when he was hit by a car and fell on the bike or was impaled or something?
Killed by a car?
Well, obviously not.
No,
what was that story?
That was.
No?
But he lost a leg as a youth. He had an artificial limb. He died during the World War II. I went overseas in June, and he died in August, so I didn't get a chance to see him just before his death. I did see him in June. I come home on an emergency furlough.
So the artificial limb business was the thing with the bicycle?
I have no idea.
All right.
I have no idea how he lost the limb.
So that's just a mismemory on my behalf. All right, so what were you doing during the Depression? What did you do during the Depression, Daddy?
During the Depression, well, I was going to school. Graduated in 1939, and I worked on the WPA, NYA, and then back to WPA, and the WPA sent me up to Connolly Trade School up here.
Can we see that from here?
No, not from here, but it's a trade school, and I was supposed to have a course in engineering, but they entered me in the class too late, so I just ended up doing some drafting in class. That was it, at Connolly Vocational High School.
Very good. So, any additional story we should hear from here?
I don't think so. What we can do from here is go to where the location of Fifth Avenue High School was.
Okay.
It will be there.
Okay.
As far as the grade school I went to, it's long gone. It was off Logan Street up here. I can't remember what intersection it was, but Franklin School was in this area.
Okay, where was there? There was a neighborhood temple,
Well,
church, synagogue. Hold on here.
there were synagogues, but it's gone. This, turn it off.
I can't. Hold on a second.
Oh.
Hold on. Yeah. Well, come back here to this, and there's a nice view, by the way, of the downtown area. Of course, that didn't look like that then. Was the golf building there in your youth?
Yeah, the golf building was there, and the Coppers building was there.
Was there?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's the
That's the something building.
It's famous because that tower on top flashes out Pittsburgh and Morse code at night.
And let's see, eventually then, Edith Al Glennie and Company ended up that way.
Right, up there where Duquesne, even that's all gone.
Yeah.
Where Duquesne University is now.
And we used to get our hair cut up there.
Oh, hold on.
All right.
Turn it off just a minute.
All right, hold on.
Yeah, this is Fifth Avenue High School. I graduated in February of 1939. Where the money people lived when I lived on Caldwell Street.
This is just up from the high school now.
Right.
And you used to have your newsstand behind the school?
Yeah. At the Colonial Biscuit Company.
From which you stood and sold papers, or you carried papers elsewhere?
I had a stand there. I'd leave my newspapers there for the. I had a lot of had customers in the bakery. Well, they call it the New Granada Theater.
So if you had money, you lived on Dinwiddie, and you could go to the theaters.
If you had money, you'd go to the theaters. It didn't matter where you lived.
Well, how much were the theaters?
Gosh, I don't remember.
So where are we now?
We're in front of Conley Trade School. This is where WPA sent me to school to take a course in engineering, but of course I was misfortunate in that I didn't get in there early enough, but I did lose some drafting in the class. So there's the front of the building, and that was back in 1940, 41 or whatever.
Prior to that, you said you'd been with some other agency?
The National Youth Administration, the NYA, did some drafting down in the Strip District. There was an old furniture factory that they converted into a building for the NYA. I was doing some drawings down there, repair of furniture and the like. And when they found that I was supporting a family, they said, well, you should be on the WPA. So they sent me to a school on the south side where I was starting to do some map work. The old maps that they had were so out of date, a lot of the streets didn't appear on them. So we were working on that.
Maps of Pittsburgh?
The whole country.
Mm-hmm.
And when they found out that I was just a teenager and supporting a family, they said, we'll send you a WPA, and this is how I ended up over here. And it was through the instructor, Carlton A. Barrett, that I was able to get the job at Blawnox. That was my first job in a drawing room.
Now, Blawnox, though, was after the war, no?
Blawnox was that's where I started. It was Highland-Patterson I went to after the war.
Oh, so Blawnox was before the war, right. And then it was after. So while we're here, we might as well mention that little building right there, and your connection to
it. This is the Civic Arena. Highland-Patterson built the trucks that moved the roof, and I was responsible for seeing to it that some of the revisions were made to the trucks because some of the things had been overlooked. And one of the fellows said to me, come on, Jake, we'll climb up on top of the building At the time, they had ladders on the inside. We went up, and there was an entryway to the roof. When I got up there, I almost dirtied my pants, looked down over the edge. There was nothing between us and the ground 90 feet below. I said, that ain't for this boy. With that, we got down off the building. However,
good.
It was an interesting thing and another experience.
And that's how you decided you never work high steel in Pittsburgh?
Oh, no. When I went to work for Howland Patterson, I climbed ridges and or towers and all. No, that didn't discourage me.
Okay. So we're now on the Liberty Bridge, headed towards the south side. Why are we going to the south side?
And I headed to the cemeteries.
Cemetery. Oh, well, wait a second.
Gosh. All right.
That's okay.
I'm going to have to do a roundabout way.
Roundabout way.
Oh, we got this. This goes up to the top of the hill.
All right. Well, we were going to catch some of the old areas of Mama's haunch. She said you knew those as well. She did.
Yes.
So I thought that's where we were headed now. Is that a possibility?
We got to go back the other way.
Okay. Oh, let's do that. The other south side.
Up. Right, just have the tongues closed.
All right. Well, we'll be back in a minute. Bye. Well, now we sort of got sidetracked in our little tour here. We ended up, instead of in the north-south side, we ended up on top of Mount Washington. It's kind of close. Here's a lovely view of the whole scene. There's the Cathedral of Learning in the distance, and of course beyond that would be Old Squirrel Hill. Here's these same buildings that we saw earlier on from another perspective. We were talking about Howland Patterson a while ago, and of course that was right down in that area somewhere before they tore it out. Happy had to move. Point Park and the River Stadium. Okay. Doing our little detour, we're now down the river from the Pittsburgh Point, so I thought we'd try to get as best shot we could here.
We're on the Ohio River. That's where the three rivers come together there.
Right.
Point.
And we just saw it from above, and now we're going across the West End Bridge to find Mama's old haunt. So where are we now?
Well, we're at the Conroy Grade School. This is where your mother went to grade school. Over here in Manchester, north side of Pittsburgh.
The man told me that it's now a special education school. So, whatever that means. So Mammy's house would have been?
Right around the
down
corner.
this
You'll
way?
find it very shortly. This is the 900 block.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. We're on the north side, or Manchester area. This is Ridge Street, and as far as we can tell, there is no 9
No, 900 block of Chateau
left.
Street.
So we drove by where we think it should be, and it doesn't seem to be anything there. They renovated. It looks like perhaps they just ripped it out. So we're now looking for what?
Now looking for Allegheny High School. This is one of the areas that Mother used to walk through to go to school.
And you start to say that you met Mama on a blind date set up by a woman that you're trying to forget her name of?
No, I'm not trying to forget her name. This is Goodside, who was a friend of Mrs. Wagner, Jeanette's mother, Wagner's mother. Had a blind date, and Isidore Goldstein was supposed to be Harriet's date. I was supposed to be Jeanette's date, and it didn't work out that way. We just switched off and got started that way.
And you were living
on Caldwell Street
at that time. Okay. Good. Well, we're now on the other side of the park that we were just looking at before, and interestingly, this is just across from what is now the National Aviary. So presumably walking across the park here, you would end up coming to the famous Allegheny High School, 1936, which is currently now Allegheny Middle School. So here we are in the park across from old Allegheny High School, currently Allegheny Middle School, and seems to be some other hospital-related things here as well. Okay. Okay, so you were saying?
Well, I met your mother when she was about 16 years of age, and spent quite a bit of time with her. Was with her for her class play, her prom, and after she graduated high school, when their class had a class reunion, they used to invite me to sit in on their meetings with them as part of their reunion committee. And this went on for years after graduation. Let's go to the cemetery. We're on the cemetery now. Over here, the truncated tree is the grave of my aunt, your great aunt Jenny. She died in 1909. Next to it is my grandfather's grave, Jacob Marks, and next to that one is Fanny Marks. They have no headstones because there was never any money for it. We're going out of my father's. This is the grave of my father, Louis Marks, who had been your grandfather, and they're just neglecting it out here. Try to get them to do something about it. Your grandmother, Rose Marks, my mother, was buried in Philadelphia on the family plot. Something was planned out years and years ago, and they fulfilled the contract, so to speak.
Okay. So now we're in Kennedy Township at the Puskipper Cemetery. So we're going to see some of the Rosen family.
We are now on the Puskipper Cemetery. This being Sarah Rosen, which would be your maternal grandmother. Morris Rosen, your maternal grandfather. David Rosen and Martha Rosen, your aunt and uncle on your mother's side. Oh, kill it. Take it. Take it. This is the grave of Uncle Meyer Rosen, and next to him is Aunt Blanche Rosen. They too were very active with the Puskippers for years.
They seem to be right over the air flight path to the airport.
We're not far from the airport. I got to find out how to get there.
So here we are at
5504 Margaret Street.
much
Right.
changed.
The whole facade of the building has changed. This is where you were born, Larry. This is the street that you were brought home to.
Yeah, I do remember the street. I remember the green Plymouth, which I think we had here at this time, maybe.
That's right. That's what we have here.
I remember a guy with a horse ride. We took a picture at. Blah, blah, blah. So this would now be Black Street. That house is now gone. And we think 5448, arguably, might have been the house. Could be. And that was the school that we started at. Back street, and Father was reminding me that it was Rogers School where I spent, I think, just a half year of kindergarten. That's before we moved to Northumberland. I don't think it was even a full year of kindergarten. I think I started there and then we moved. So, we're going to go to Northumberland. These people don't run us over first. Bye. Well, moving away from kind of chronological order a little bit over to just geographic order, we're now at Whiteman Elementary School. And of course, Whiteman Elementary School was my actual elementary school where I spent all my young years. And it hasn't changed that much, although now apparently some kind of community building. I remember, of course, being a school guard, crossing guard. I remember being down here in the playground area, and we used to come down the summers and play. I think Steele used to come too. They had some summer hours. I remember fire escapes. The playground, and this field has changed. This was a big open field, of course, in its day. A place where I helped young Stu learn how to ride a bike by pulling him up to the side of the hill and saying, "Okay, dude, go." We used to do the model airplanes here. We used to ride our bikes around here. Down there somewhere is where I got smushed with snow in the snow playground. Hold on here. Yeah, so in its day, of course, this was the hill, the famous hill that we dragged him up. I think it was dirt in those days. And said, "Okay, ride." And he rode down there and rode over there, and all of a sudden realized I didn't tell him how to either stop or turn, which was a bit of a problem. On the other hand, this over here actually is also where my daddy taught me over several days how to ride in that area over there. And I remember almost falling down into a well, a basement well down there, not the water well, but the stairwell. So, here we go. So long, Whiteman School. So, 5643 Northumberland. Looks like we lost a tree or so. And looks like we changed the color of the house as well. Porch needs a little work. Let's see what we got down here. Remember when the house down there burned down and we built a new one? There's our street corner, and there's where we're street guard crossing. The Willis's house. I remember who lived there, and then up there was the Fritz's. The old driveway. Looks like the old garage fell down, I guess, or was taken down. Can't tell what they've done back there. So, depends what era you were in, to which room was which. Across town at Total Autodesk High School with the great Holland, and that's where both Stuart and I went to high school. Of course, when I went to high school, while we had the great massive building, we didn't have whatever this front piece is, and I have no idea what that's all about. And there's Jacob J. So we're going to have to go take a look, we'll go look across the street and see where Grandma Rosen used to live. And I think we have a shot somewhere of Mama on the stairs that no longer exist there too. Here we go. This is the front facade, whatever that is, and here at 2400 Shady Avenue is where the Rosens eventually moved, and their last house in Pittsburgh was right there. Right? I guess I remember a lot of that house. Bye-bye. We're going to go see
Heads up, heads up, heads up! No, I wish it had
Great bat, man. Great job.
Not as cold as now. See, I didn't say anything, did I?
All right, Aliyah, let's go, baby. Go in, ready.
This is the
Okay, good eye. Okay, Aliyah, you're in there now.
Soft team here.
Ready, and
Score a run with these three. Yeah, I'd love
Aliyah, take a practice cut in there. Come on. Get loose. Let's have fun with it.
Okay.
Good eye.